Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coach-your-PO. All lowercase, all one word, that's bit.ly/coach-your-PO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello everybody, welcome to our TGIF Friday and Product Owner episode this week with Tinatin Tabidze. Hey Tinatin, welcome back.
Hello, Vasco. Thank you.
So Tinatin, Friday is Product Owner Day here on the podcast, as we've discussed this week as well. The relationship we have with the product owner and how we can help them is critical for the success of the team. So we're going to explore two aspects. First, we're going to talk about a bad example, and later on we'll end on a high with a great example. But before that, do share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career. Describe it for us.
Mhm. Let's see. So, what does a product owner actually, what's the essence of the role, right? The ownership of the product. And if that commitment and the ownership is not present and the actual sincere interest into developing your product, then I think the development, the team, in essence, is doomed to fail. So I would say the worst anti-pattern that I have witnessed would be a product owner completely out of touch with the product that the team is developing.
How did that look in practice? Like as you were the Scrum Master and working with the team and the product owner, what were the things that started to tell you that maybe this product owner isn't committed?
Mhm. Let's see. So obviously, we know that with agile development, things change all the time, and you cannot pre-plan. There's no way. But you do have at least a certain kind of outlook of what's coming, roughly within the next quarter, maybe a bit further down the line, depending on the product. But you always have a goal in mind and a clear understanding of what you're trying to achieve with the product. And if the product owner is not able to communicate that vision, and if that vision is not authentic to them, it's not based on market research, it's not based on data, basically, they're not able to provide any information about the outlook of the product, it means that they are completely unaware of what the team is developing. And that stems from many different aspects. Let's say some product owners I've seen who come from heavy business background and don't have much experience working with agile teams may deem their role a bit different, as in a manager rather than a product owner, and want to guide processes as managers, which they're not. They're product owners. They're there to offer guidance about the product, not the team who is developing the product, right? That's a very big anti-pattern, and this is not. It has not been only one instance when I've witnessed this. So I'd say a good understanding the actual work with a product. Obviously, we know that product owner job description does not entail them testing it, right? Testing whatever they are developing. But how would you be then knowledgeable about what you're doing if you have not even touched it and if you haven't broken it once or twice at least, right? So I'd say product owners who are quite detached from the development and who seem to be more involved with the business aspect, which, don't get me wrong, it is important. I mean, they're there to be sort of a liaison, right, between the stakeholders and the team. But that's also important. But those two are not mutually exclusive. Rather, they should play hand in hand and enhance each other. So I'd say a product owner who is detached from the product and who is not very knowledgeable about the product they're developing, but also the ecosystem and the environment that this product is going to be deployed in, and the customer who is actually going to be using this, they're detached from this whole process, um, then that product owner is doomed to failure.
Absolutely. I do want to highlight here that the product owner role is also a little bit of a superhero role, right? Like they need to understand a lot about the business. They need to understand a lot about the development process and what the team is working on. And not everybody is able to touch all of these sides, but the product owner role in Scrum is also a leadership role. And what you just said about being too much on the business or too much on the technical side can be overcome if we take that aspect of leadership into account, right? Like, so how can we as Scrum Masters help the product owner have more of a connection with stakeholders, or have more of a connection with the team, or participate in some testing sessions so that they have, a hands-on understanding of what the product is able to do and what's not working? Like, we can ask that question as Scrum Masters, and of course work together with the product owner in order to get to that to get the product owner to a place where they have enough knowledge both on the technical as well as on the business side, because at the end of the day, nobody is born knowing everything, right? So in your own experience, Tinatin, what have you been able to successfully do to help the product owners understand these two aspects that you were referring to, and then also to accept that even though I don't know everything, I need to go and ask?
Yeah. So going back to what you said about product owner being hands-on with their product, I don't think it's just a product owner. It's everyone in Scrum team who's working on that product, meaning also Scrum Master. They should test it. I think, and I firmly believe that Scrum Master should have very hands-on understanding of the product. This doesn't have to take up all of their time, but they should be able to test it. And this is, I think, this is the future of where Scrum Master role is going. And just like developers, just like QAs, Scrum Masters and product owners should be able to look into the product and understand what it does, at least. Um, as a Scrum Master, if you have a product owner who does not understand this essence of um, why you need to be very well versed in the product that you're developing, I'd say one good option would be to sit down with them and help them build up this roadmap, basically, of where do they think this product is going, and why do they think so? Because usually what happens is in agile development, you always have to prioritize, and sometimes things can come in which will totally disrupt the plan that was in place. And you have to be able to sell this to dev team basically as a product owner of why what they were working on is now deprioritized and this new topic is coming in. And if you yourself don't have a good understanding of why that's happening, it's very hard to relate to others. So I'd say as Scrum Masters, one thing we can do is relay the tools that are out there for product owners. Again, the Roman Pitchless book is a great example of that, because it talks about product development, and there are many great tools and techniques to be utilized from that book for by product owners and also by Scrum Masters to be communicated to product owners or whoever they're working with at the time. So I would say that's how I'd go about it. Um, Otherwise, just incentivizing a product owner to be a part of the team and not like a standalone, you know, role.
Hang
Um,
around
as-
sometimes.
yeah. Sometimes answering some questions. That's not how you build trust within the team, and that's not how you get good collaboration.
Absolutely. Tinatin, that was a bad example, but of course we want to end up on a high because it is Friday, weekend is coming, and we want to hear a great story of a great product owner you might have worked with. Describe them for us.
I can give you two examples of product owners from whom I've learned so much in my career. And one I currently work with, and another one I worked with in my previous job. And those two are very different from one another, don't get me wrong. So there is no one way of being a great product owner. But there are certain qualifications in my mind for it, and one would be to be very knowledgeable about the product and be genuinely interested in it, and not just the product but also competitors to this product. And that way you can understand the pitfalls of yours and which way you're most likely to develop. And this was a good thing that we picked up on, of this very clear view and understanding of what this product is supposed to be and why we are developing it, and have solid arguments of, again, in terms of prioritization or how things are implemented. This is one good example. And another one would be to be extremely hands-on with the team. And this can be done in a way of having a good understanding of what they are working on, having very clearly defined acceptance criteria, therefore making developers' jobs very easy, and also showing that you know this product and you have worked with it, and you can identify ways, like practical ways, as to how you can make it better. And so these are two aspects, right? One, when you have a big picture understanding of whatever you're working on, i.e., the ownership and the business savvy side of it, meaning you understand the competition, you understand the market and the ecosystem around this product. And then another aspect of being hands-on with that actual product and being a part of a team and developing it just like any other team member. And when those two are in synergy, I think this is a recipe for success. And one more thing, I guess you can be very knowledgeable, very well versed, but I've encountered some product owners who, for some reason, are not good team members, let's say, or maybe not that involved of a team members. So with all that being said, being easy to work with is one of the greatest prerequisites of having a successful, let's say, professional synergy. And again, product owners and Scrum Master synergy is so telling in team's performance, and is so important, therefore. So I would also add that as an important point.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily for the product owners, it is our job as Scrum Masters to help them figure out how to be great team members, right? That's what we do. We help team members be great with each other and of course, perform as a team. And product owners are just like any other team member. They just focus on other aspects of the work that needs to be done. So that was an inspiring story and a description of a great PO, Tinatin. Thank you for that. We're getting close to the end here, though. But before we do go, tell us, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
So you can find me on LinkedIn at Tinatin Tabidze. That's probably one social media platform I use. Otherwise, not very active on the rest.
No worries. So we'll definitely put the link on the show notes, and why not, everybody, go there and connect and ask follow-up questions, maybe share stories or share questions and get the conversation going. At the end of the day, we're here to improve our profession, the profession of Scrum Masters. Tinatin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you, Asko, for having me, and thank you everyone who listened to the podcast.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.